Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Firdaus bin Zulkifli. My matric number 10DIB 18F2056. So, I will talk about an investigation on the frequency of telco by seberang perai polytechnic student. Firstly, for the introduction, I would like to say that in Malaysia, telecommunication industry is now considered to be prominent due to its contribution as a tool of technological support of the national development in line with national impression. Hence, to explore certain development features in the telecommunication industry that we portray the future part of such industry in the next coming century to comfort the nation as whole through its available and possible service. This mini-scale research was conducted to identify the type of telco service by seberang perai polytechnic student. Okay, meanwhile, for the objective of this survey was to show that how important is telecommunication as an industry. By the looking at the strategy and relay information, it is clear that Malaysia is very serious to foster the telecommunication industry. Furthermore, the survey was conducted to identify the type of telco service by seberang perai polytechnic student. As shown in table, the total of respondent is 56 students. For gender, female has 21 students or 62.5%, and male for male has 35 students or 62.5% respondent to the survey. Second, as the semester 1 has 6 students, semester 2 has 4 students, semester 3 has 9 students, also followed by semester 4, 28 students. Semester 5 has 9 students, and the last semester, semester 6, has 0 students. Finally, for department was 4 Commerce department has 35 students, Mechanical Engineering department has 3 students, Electrical Engineering has 8 students, and lastly, Information Technology and Communication has 7 students vote for this survey. Okay, graph 1. The bar graph show the respondent feedback on the frequency of telco package. There are 4 options, which is free SMS, free call, unlimited data, and all above. It can be clearly seen that the number of respondents who are using unlimited data is the highest than any other rate, which account for 27 respondents. Meanwhile, the option of above was chosen by 19 respondents, and this is marginally higher than those who are using free call by 9 respondents. Finally, the option of free SMS has the least number of respondents with only 1 respondent. In conclusion, the majority of students choose unlimited data as the main option in daily use. Okay, as for the graph 1, the bar chart displays the student response on telco service used by students. There are 4 choice records, which are Digi Secom, Maxis Mobile, and others. In bar chart, it can be clearly seen that the number of respondents who are using Secom is the highest than any other frequency, which account for 30 respondents. Meanwhile, the option of Digi user was chosen by 12 respondents, and this is marginally higher than those who are using Maxis and other telco by 11 respondents in the same frequency. On the contrary, the option of U-Mobile has the least number of respondents with only 9 respondents. In conclusion, the majority of students choose Secom as majority Secom used in seberang perai polytechnic area.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi there. My name is Amir Zahim bin Muhammad, and my matric number is 10DIB 18F2067. So today, I'm going to give a short presentation on tree graph and recommendations. Firstly, I'm going to graph number 3. The bar graph depicts the respondents' feedback on the frequency of spending in a month for telco service by students. Y-axis represents for the frequency, while X-axis represents the number of respondents. It can be clearly seen that the number of respondents who spend around 30 ringgit until 50 ringgit is the highest than any other iteration which accounted for 30 respondents. Meanwhile, the option of spending around 60 ringgit until 100 ringgit was chosen by 9 respondents, and this is marginally higher than those who spent over 130 ringgit by 7 respondents. On the contrary, the option of 110 ringgit until 130 ringgit has the least number of respondents with only 4 respondents. In conclusion, the majority of students spend a month for telco service around 30 ringgit until 50 ringgit. Secondly, I would like to talk about graph number 4. The bar graph depicts the respondents' feedback on the frequency of types of telco plan. Y-axis represents the frequency, Y-axis represents the number of respondents. It can be clearly seen that the number of respondents who are using prepaid as the telco plan is the highest than any other oscillation which accounted for 38 respondents. On the contrary, the option of using postpaid as their telco plan has the least number of respondents with only 18 respondents. In conclusion, the majority of students chosen prepaid as their telco plan based on their allowance. Okay, next, thirdly, take a look at the graph number 5. The bar graph depicts the respondents' feedback on the frequency of payment method preferred by students. Y-axis represents the frequency, while X-axis represents for the number of respondents. It can be clearly seen that the number of respondents who pay through online banking is the highest than any other occurrence which accounted for 28 respondents. Meanwhile, the option of pay at the grocery store was chosen by 13 respondents, and it is marginally higher than those who are paid at telco center by 8 respondents. On the contrary, the option of paying through an ATM machine has the least number of respondents with only 2 respondents. In conclusion, the majority of students preferred to pay through an online banking system.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hi and Assalamualaikum. Today I would like to continue our presentation about the use of telco service among PSP students. Before I start my presentation today, let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Amir Aiman bin Khairul Anwar and my matric number is 10DIB8054. So today, I will present about the pie chart. The first title of the pie chart that I will present today is Data Size Spent by Student in a Month. There are 5 types of data size record, which are 5 GB below, 50 GB below, 25 GB below, 13 GB below, and unlimited data. As you can see on the slide, the largest segment of the pie chart, which made up 3/5 of total respondents, state that the data size was unlimited. This followed by those who vote for 15 GB below, which is almost a fifth of total respondents. 25 GB below and 13 GB below recorded slightly more than a 10, which is about 11% of total respondents. Meanwhile, 5 GB below of data record less than a 10, which is about 4% of total respondents. So, in conclusion, the majority of data size spent by students in a month was unlimited. So today we will continue my presentation to the next pie chart. The title of this pie chart was Problem Encounter with Internet Provider. So the pie chart above shows the respondent about experience on whether students have ever encounter problem regarding their telco service or not. So students need to answer whether yes, no, or not sure if they are confused about their telco service that they use right now. So as you can see on the slide, the largest segment of the chart, which made up slightly more than a half of the total respondents, state that yes, they have experienced it. This followed by not sure, which is slightly below a quarter of total respondents. Meanwhile, only 20% of students never face a problem with their telco service. So, to sum up, over a half of the students have experienced problem with their telco service. So we go to the next pie chart. This pie chart about online class operability based on the internet provider used by students. So the pie chart shows the respondent opinion of student whether the telco service really helps them during online class or not. So the largest segment of the pie chart, which made up 3/4 of the total respondents, state that the telco service really helps them during online class. This is followed by slightly more than a 10 of the total respondent state that their telco service not really helps them during online class. Meanwhile, more than a 10 of the total respondents are not sure whether the telco service helps or not while in the online class. So, to sum up, the majority of students thinks that their telco service really helps them during online class.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Kuzari. My metric number is 10 DIB 18F 2062. Okay, when it comes to my part, I will talk about student certification level towards internet provider. As you can see, it was divided by two sections. When it comes to no segment, we just accounted around 29% for slightly below third of total respondent. So only a few students are not certified with their current telco service. To sum up, the majority of students are certified with their current telco service, which is around 71% of them was certified with their first internet provider. Now the only 29% are not certified. Okay, now it comes to the faster internet speed from telco service ranked by student. This was ranked by student PSP. Okay, as you can see, the pie chart show above that is about faster internet speed from the telco service by student. There are five types of telco that we recorded before this, which is we have DG, Celcom, Massive, Umop, and others. Okay, as we can see, the largest segment of this charts was made up by exactly a quarter of the total respondents stated that Maxis has a internet speeds, which is accounted around 25%. This is followed by Celcom, Celcom was accounted around 23% of 100. Is for slightly below a fourth of total respondent. The next one is a telco Umobile. On other hand, recorded slightly below a fifth of total respondent. Okay, the next one is a telco DG had recorded less than fifth of the total respondent. When it comes to net, meanwhile, only a small fraction of respondents choose other telco service. Other telco service comprise only 14.3%. Okay, for the last part, we talk about conclusion. This is the result that we get from our student. The only 56 students from our main department are participating in this test. It might be affected on their academic performance if they are having any interrupted connection. So students are more choosing Celcom as the main telco user to get used on their gadgets, mobile smartphone, tablet and computer. So students are more having their own choices and reason by choosing the best telco service. Thank you.
Okay, I will continue my presentation about my recommendation this topic. So, as you know, ever since pandemic COVID-19 or coronavirus hits Malaysia and the world, students have been forced to cope with the new normal life, including online class. Internet have been significantly important to enjoy each and every one student to stay connected and able to access the information delivered in online class. Thus, it is recommended for students to do more research on the telco provider that should their coverage and budget well before settle down for good. Okay, furthermore, having problem with the telco service is something unavoidable, right? This matter is completely out of our control. Most of the time, it will include the interaction of line and signals, slow data and low coverage. Thus, it is recommended that students to always forward their queries and dissatisfaction to telco provider so they could improve their service in the future. Thank you. Um, I will pass my presentation to my friend.
Now, I want to go through about recommendations. Using prepaid is a much more convenient way for students, especially when it provides the flexibility and freedom to select from various internet packages available from the telco provider. Furthermore, students will not be buying with contract since only the postpaid plan come with a contractual agreement that bind the user to a certain agreement to eat postpaid. From the research, it is recommended for students to spend less than 50 ringgit monthly for their telco services. Subscribing to the affordable yet sufficient and stable internet package is a very useful practice, especially to reduce their spending and maximizing the users for what they pay.